Hey everybody, for today's video I'll be going over bar graphs and pie charts. Now for the bar graph, I'll simply be going over the rules of how to draw it. So always make sure to have equal widths between each bar graph and equal distances between them. There should also be a distance between the initial graph here from the point 0 and the first bar. And over here for the numbers, you'll have to use a ruler to have proportioned values. As you can see on mine, it's not perfectly drawn because I cannot exactly use a ruler. If this does come written, you will have to make sure that they're equally proportioned. And most of all, do not forget to label your graph. Label each bar and the title of it. So plum, cherry, grape, kiwi, and they're all fruits, as you can see here. These are exactly how you should be labeling your graph, with number of students being right here on the y-axis. Now moving on to the pie charts, I'll be explaining to you how to draw it when they give you a frequency table such as this one over here. Now when they're giving you a table like this, you have to find the angle in which each dessert or whichever variable they give you is on a pie chart. You find this by dividing its frequency by the total. So for example, ice cream 70 divided by the total 180 times 360 will give you 140 degrees. So right here, this is ice cream. Fruit salad is 60, so 60 divided by 180 times 360 will give you 120 degrees. So this would be your graph for the fruit salad, and you continue on like that. Make sure that when you're drawing it that it actually looks slightly proportioned. For example, the 120 is smaller than 140 but significantly larger than the 60 and 40. 60 you can tell is larger than the 40, so it looks somewhat proportioned. Now occasionally they may give you a data list with percentiles. In that case, you would just have to do the percentile divided by 100 to give it in decimal form times 360 in order to find its angle. We'll move on to the last question for this video, which is number 8. I would just like to go over this because it can get a little confusing. So this graph over here will be given to you, and they would tell you that the frequency of A is 34. Part A asks you for the frequency of B. You honestly have to just proportion it, essentially. So let's take the frequency of B to be X, and that's divided by its percentage, so 27. Let's equal it to the frequency of A, which is 34, divided by A's percentage, 17. And if you were to calculate this, you'd get X to be 54. Now, B asks you to draw a frequency table for this graph. I had written it down already down here. This real frequency just implies relative frequency, but in percentage form. As I have explained in a previous video, relative frequency is the frequency divided by the total, and it's technically the same thing if it's in percentage or decimal form. This frequency just indicates the percentages on the actual graph. What they're looking for is the frequency over here. You can find it by doing the exact same process you use in A. for each value. Now, for part C, they ask you to find the angle of sector C. So to find the angle of sector C, you use the same process I explained in question 6. It is the frequency divided by the total times 360. So technically speaking here, for C it's 21 divided by 100, since the total percentage is 100 times 360. And the angle you get will be approximately 75.6. Part D asks you to write a bar graph. You will have to use the frequencies you found in part B in order to do so. I will not be going over it because I already explained how to draw a bar graph earlier. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something and have a nice day.